we've been talking about this all morning. Vladimir Putin and his delegates saying there is no compromise on territory after Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner talked to him in Moscow. 5 hours of talks and no compromise. Yulia Sirko is a Ukrainian MP. She's from the Holos Party, which is one of the pro-European opposition groups. She joins us now. Yulia, good morning.
Good morning from Kiev.
How do you feel this morning after this no compromise? Do you feel hopeful, vindicated, just as desperate, considering it probably means the war is going to continue?
Actually, in Ukraine, we expected the outcome, these outcome of the negotiations and peace talks from Russia's side, because they definitely don't want to stop the war. It's obvious. I mean, for Ukrainians. We see it on the front line. We see that Putin signed the most aggressive military budget in decades for 2026. So that 40% of the Russian spendings, will go to the military sector. So obviously he is benefiting from the war, and he will stay in the war. So I don't know why Witkoff and Kushner expected that Putin will agree to stop the war.
I mean, the Russians say no compromise on the land they want, and we think, from what we understand, that is basically the Donbass, Luhansk and Donetsk in their entirety. Can you see any world in which your people would accept parts of your country ending up in Russian hands as part of a deal?
It's also Crimea, and I think it's not possible, neither politically nor legally, to recognize it as a Russian land, because this is the rewriting of the borders in the modern world. I think it will be the first time of the rewriting of the borders from the World War II. I think it's not possible, first of all. And then what Putin also demands, it's not only the land. He also demanding that the world, US and other countries, recognize it as a Russian territory. So it means that he wants the act of aggression to be recognized and sealed by other countries. So I think it's not possible at all. So nobody will recognize it, neither Europe nor US. It's impossible. So I mean, in Ukraine, it's even less possible than in Europe and the US. So I think it's a dead end negotiations, and Putin should start talking more about peace and not actually proceeding with the war. And he's doing this. He doesn't need war. He doesn't need peace.
Putin thinks he's winning. Is he right? What is life like in Kyiv at the moment?
Life is difficult, and mostly because of the absence of electricity. We have like 18 hours per day or 16 hours per day without electricity, which is in the modern world very difficult. But still, we are fixing it, and I think we'll have better situation with the energy sector. But let's look at the facts that Putin grabbed only 0.5% of Ukrainian territory since 2022, and he killed over 1 million of his people for 0.5% of the territory of Ukrainian territory. That's why, if you are looking at it in a bigger picture, you will understand that he spent hundreds of billions of dollars, millions of life, and he grabbed only a small amount, 0.5% of the territory of Ukraine. So I think it's not a winning war at all. He understands it very well. Money is also an issue in Russia.
Yes.
So they have a very high deficit, budget deficit, and think financially they will have, with the low prices on oil and gas, they will have troubles in 2026.
Well, we will see if that puts pressure on the Russian side. Yulia Sirko, Ukrainian MP from Kyiv, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Russian President Vladimir Putin met with U.S. President Donald Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, and the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, at the Kremlin on Tuesday. Their mission to Moscow is aimed at finding a way to end the deadliest European conflict since World War II. A leaked set of 28 U.S. draft peace proposals that emerged last week stoked alarm with Ukrainian and European officials who said it bowed to Russia's main demands. European leaders crafted a set of counterproposals aimed at tilting the balance toward Ukraine. Just before Tuesday's meeting, Putin dismissed European counterproposals on Ukraine as being absolutely unacceptable to Moscow. And he warned Europe that it would face swift defeat if it went to war with Russia. Trump has repeatedly said he wants to end the war in Ukraine. But his efforts so far, including a summit with Putin in Alaska in August and meetings with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, have not yet brought peace. At a cabinet meeting in Washington, Trump said it would not be an easy situation to resolve.
And our people are over in Russia right now to see if we can get it settled. Not an easy situation, let me tell you. What a mess.
On Tuesday, Russia's defense ministry claimed its forces had completed the conquest of Pokrovsk, a strategic city in eastern Ukraine. Ukraine said its forces still controlled parts of the city. Russian forces now control more than 19% of Ukraine. Despite high losses, that's up only 1 percentage point from 2 years ago, though they have advanced in 2025 at the fastest pace since the invasion, according to pro-Ukrainian maps. But nearly 4 years after Moscow's forces invaded their smaller neighbor, Russia has failed to conquer Ukraine, which has been supported by European powers and the United States.
We are waiting for the results in America-Russia negotiations, today's results.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, speaking in Dublin, said everything would depend on the talks in Moscow.
Again, Ukraine. How do we make sure that Ukraine stays as strong as possible? The peace talks are ongoing. That's good. But at the same time, we have to make sure that whilst they take place, and we are not sure when they will end, that Ukraine is in the strongest possible position to keep the fight going, to fight back against the Russians, but also in the strongest possible position when peace talks really get to a point where they sit at the table. One at a time, yes.
Yesterday Putin was threatening Europe with war again, so...
I'm not going to react to everything Putin is saying. We have seen him in military clothes, dressed like a soldier at the front, but not at the front. It was quite far from the front the day before yesterday, so no, I'm not going to react to everything.
New pearl pledges by Norway.
Oh, they are absolutely consulting enough. The teams here at NATO and Marco Rubio's team are in constant contact. I myself in constant contact with the Secretary of State. Of course, he is working very hard when it comes to the peace process on Ukraine, but also when it comes to Sudan, Gaza and all the other issues the Americans are working on. So I find it totally acceptable that he is not here. Chris Lendau is here, the Deputy Secretary. I had dinner with him last night and he will be really great at the table. So let's not look into more than anything there's there.
What do you make of the rare absence of the US Secretary of State, and do you have the impression that...
It's important that the peace process is there. Hopefully it will lead to results. And if it takes too long or it is not leading to results, the best way to put pressure on the Russians is by doing two things. One is making sure that the Russians understand that the weapon flow into Ukraine will keep on going. That's exactly what's happening today, thanks to the US, thanks to the Europeans. US sending its crucial gear to Ukraine, paid for by Canada and European allies, but also Europe and Canada doing a lot bilaterally. And secondly, making sure that the economic sanctions bite, that they are effective. That's also exactly what is happening.